This morning when I woke up, Angelo was like, "How do you feel?" And I looked at him and I was like, stupid. Whoosh! It got real fast. Dear God, if my water breaks, the nurse that was checking me was like in tears, crying, laughing. I thought my water broke. That feels so stupid. I can't stop shaking. I have some explaining to do. Before we dive into this story, I want to give a disclaimer and say if you think your water broke but you're not sure, follow the proper protocols, call your doctor, do what your doctor says, and if you really just don't know what to do, just go to the hospital. So in this video, I don't get graphic, but I do talk about some like TMI things, like going to the bathroom, because that is real life. This is real life, people. So if you can't handle conversations like that, you might want to click off. And I wanted to keep it as real as possible. It is funny still, but I wanted to give you all the details and give you explanations because I think that could be really helpful and encouraging for someone to watch as well. And I filmed it nice and crusty after my morning nap. So without further ado, here is the story time about what happened last night. Enjoy. This is real, this is raw, and this is what's going on. I'm still very pregnant, and if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been talking about what's been going on with my body. I've been having contractions. I'm 38 and a couple days pregnant, 38 weeks and a couple days pregnant. And I went to the doctor. I'm starting to dilate. Like, things seem to be progressing a lot faster than they did with my first, which they say is normal. And I am not feeling things the same at all this time around that I felt with my first pregnancy. So that has brought up a lot of concern in me. Not because I think anything is wrong. I'm just like, I've progressed this far in my pregnancy. Like, I've dilated the same amount that I dilated with my firstborn, but I was in such excruciating pain at that point that I was like, we need to go to the hospital. Like, that I was having such intense contractions to get me to that point. But now I'm already there. And I'm having contractions, but they don't feel the same at all. All right, so that's just like a little bit of backstory. And then on top of that, every time I go to the doctor, they're always like, hey, look, if your water breaks, do not dilly-dally, like, go to the hospital. This is your second baby. And they make me feel like my baby is just gonna like slide out of me after my water breaks. Like, I'm like, dear God, if my water breaks, we need to go to the hospital ASAP, because that is what they've drilled into my brain. So yesterday I was having contractions on and off, and I got a lot done around the house. I got a lot of work done, super productive, because I really felt a difference in my body, and I was like, I need to get all this done now because baby is coming. I feel like baby is gonna come. She's gonna show up. So I just need to like push through any pain that I have, any tiredness, any soreness, and just get stuff done. So I did, and immediately right after I finished an edit for a project that I was working on, I was like, man, I need to get downstairs because I have to pee so bad. Okay. So also, it's really hard for me to walk now. My hips have widened. Everything down there is very sore. My back, my hips, my butt, my legs. So I really do have like a serious waddle going on because I'm like actually in pain. It's the weirdest thing. So I come down the stairs with hands full of stuff, like so cautiously, but I feel like I am about to pee my pants. It is going to happen right now. I need to get on that toilet. So once I come downstairs, I drop everything and I go directly to the toilet and I use the restroom. Now, this was unusual. It felt unusual. it happened immediately. Like when I sat down, like it was just like the floodgates were open. And for the last couple weeks, as I've had this urge to go to the restroom, I'll go to the restroom, but it'll take a second. Like even if I have like an extreme urge to go, it takes a second for me to actually go, you know? But this didn't take no seconds. Like it was just whoosh. Okay, and it felt different. It felt unusual. And if you have not seen my labor and delivery story with Logan, you should watch it. It is pretty funny. My water breaks on camera. And when my water broke on camera for Logan's birth, I felt like I was peeing myself. Like I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm about to pee. I was laughing, I was dancing, and then I started laughing and I was like, I'm about to pee, and then I started peeing myself and I couldn't stop. And it was a lot. And that is exactly what this felt like. So I was like, I think my water broke. Like this is a possibility. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, Angelo, I think my water broke. And he's asleep in bed. He yells down the hall, huh? What do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell. Like, I can't tell if I was just going to the bathroom or my water broke, but it feels different. Something feels different. And I came out to the living room afterwards and I just sat there for a second. And all of a sudden my stomach started like making these weird noises and I felt like I was gonna throw up and I felt like I was gonna poop. And then I felt like, then I got the body shakes. The body shakes kicked in and I was like, no, I think my water just broke. Like, I think this is real. Something is going on in my body. I think we need to go to the hospital. I got the body shakes with Logan almost the entire time I was laboring. And so when that happened, I was like, Lord, is this just like adrenaline in me? Is this just anxiety coming out of me? What is the shake? Or is this my body being triggered? We load up the car, we load up Logan, we drop her off at her grandma's house, which they live in the same neighborhood, so that's awesome. And I was still shaking. I was starting to freak out a little bit. I was trying to stay calm. I shed a few tears. And we went to the hospital. I've never actually been in this hospital because they're not doing tours or anything right now. And we just moved here, so I didn't really know what to expect. But they're really nice. Somebody wheeled me in because I really walk super slow. It would have taken me forever to actually get to where I needed to go. So they wheeled me in. I was still kind of shaking and having some mild contractions. They checked me in, took me to triage. Now, this triage was way more like what you see on TV than the triage that I had in Texas. At our hospital in Texas, our triage room was an actual like private room, like with a door and walls and its own bathroom. This triage was straight up curtain rooms, like barely any privacy, with a shared bathroom. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. You could hear all the other mamas that are in labor. They could hear me. Like, it got real fast. So at triage, they hooked me up to the monitor and I explained I'm not really having contractions, but I think my water broke. I called my doctor. I did call my doctor before we went to the hospital and I explained everything, and she said, just go to the hospital, basically, which I knew that's what she would say. And they had to track my contractions and baby's heart rate and my heart rate and everything before they would actually check to see if my water ruptured. The whole time I was still very uncomfortable. I'm still very sore, but I'm pleasant, like overall pleasant. I'm just tired. It's the middle of the night, and the whole time I'm like, I hope this is real because I'm going to be so embarrassed if I literally just had to go to the bathroom and my water didn't break and I'm here. I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time. So while we're there, you can hear like all the nurses talking about the other labors and deliveries and women coming in. And I'm just like, oh dear God, you can hear women moaning in pain and triage. I'm just like in there chilling with Angelo. Angelo thought I looked hilarious last night, and he continuously was taking pictures of my back because he said it was a perfect rectangle, and he just thought it was the funniest thing ever. So in triage, he's taking pictures of my back, and he's like, look how rectangular you look right now in those pants. What? We're there for a while because it got really busy, and there were a lot of women that were in very active labor, and I was not. Finally they came and they checked to see if my water ruptured, which that is a whole nother story. I'm probably the most awkward / the funniest person for all of my medical professionals to check, because the only way I know how to tolerate it is by laughing and singing. And I do it every time, and I always have to warn them, like, hey, just so you know, before you check me, I'm very awkward and weird, and this is how I respond to it. And they're all like, oh, yeah. And then they actually do it, and they are always laughing. They're always like, this is the weirdest thing. This is so funny. So both of the nurses were in there just like cracking up as they were checking me. Like, she checked me for a few different things, and I was in there. Everybody heard me laughing. Okay, everybody on the floor heard me laughing. And Angelo said that the nurse that was checking me was like in tears, crying, laughing. And afterwards they were like, well, that was an experience. The last girl that we checked tonight was screaming bloody murder, and you're just in here laughing away. I'm like, this is how I'm very weird. And she said, no, there's no ruptures. Your water didn't break. You haven't dilated anymore. And she did an ultrasound just to like measure the baby and check the fluids to make sure she didn't miss anything. And then we got sent home. I'm so uncomfortable, and I guess I'm not having a baby tonight. This was a big old waste of time, and I was shaking and crying for nothing. And another lady stuck a hand up my vagina. So that's it. I just wanted to give you guys a real raw update about how I thought my water broke at 38 weeks pregnant. And turns out I just really had to pee.